Buying your home, your first home especially, is super exciting. But here's 5 things that could literally cost you thousands and how you can avoid them. Shop smarter. What's up, team? Doug the Lender. I'm here to provide all of the information, transparency, and just raw data that I can to try to make sure that first-time homebuyers are out here with clarity and they win big as they can. Let's get after it. Top 5 things first-time homebuyers should avoid. And some of these might actually surprise you. Mistake number 1, no pre-approval. So in some of my other videos, I try to break down the differences of what a pre-approval is, what a pre-qual is. Hey, listen, don't go into the game without your ammunition. All right? You don't go into sports without your gear. You don't go into a fight without your ammo or your gloves. You just don't do it. Your pre-approval is everything that you need to be confident. So that being said, you need to go do it. The process isn't that long. It is a little bit painful. It's frustrating. You got to go get docs. If you're not an organized person, sometimes those things, you got to pull them from somewhere, go into this database, you lost your password, whatever. At the end of the day, the time you spent up front, little bit of discipline leads to long-term gains and long-term success. Do it. It's worth it. So not only that, but even if you're going to do a for sale by owner, so like let's say you're not working with a realtor and no one gave you the warning, hey, go get a pre-approval. Let's just say you skipped all those parts somehow and you're in the game now and you're trying to win on a home. The seller who's listing their home isn't really gonna be able to take your offer very seriously. And even if they do, let's say you find somebody and you're able to negotiate your way into it, you could be facing a lot of frustration down the road because you didn't do the time and the due diligence to make sure that you actually qualify for these loan programs. And hey, listen, I know that sounds very, very self-serving. You can educate yourself really, really well online, but I don't draft my own legal documents. I get a lawyer to do that because they know the ins and outs. I can Google it and stay up all night and do a lot of different stuff to try to make myself super smart. But in the end of the day, I'm still not a lawyer. I don't have the experience that I'm doing it, and I'm potentially could expose myself to a lot of risk. Therefore, same deal. Go get your pre-approval, do it through a loan officer, and do it the right way. Take the time, vet out a couple people, ask who people's favorite are. I'm sure they're gonna tell you Doug the Lender. Work with that person and then they'll set you on the right path. That even if you're not working with other professionals in the industry, you'll still have a solid footing to be able to turn around and then make that offer. The seller can accept it and you can have a much smoother closing. Sellers will take you more seriously if you have a legitimate pre-approval. Not only that, but you don't want to fall in love with a house that all of a sudden you can't afford. You might not know. Maybe there's something in your credit or your debts that you just really weren't paying attention to and that you didn't find on Google. You should know your budget before you go into it. A pre-approval will help you get there. Let's say you didn't do all the pre-planning stages properly. Nobody's perfect and it's absolutely fine. There's no such thing as no, it's yes with all this criteria. So yeah, you can get a pre-approval. Now, is it perfect? No, but it'll tell you where you're at. You might be able to be in a much better situation if you give it time, but right now, this is where you're at. We can only make decisions in the time with the information we have, okay? So hopefully you're watching this and hopefully you're doing it early, right? But if you're not, go get the pre-approval. This is a huge mistake that nobody should be doing, all right? Do not make offers on homes without a pre-approval. And it's wild because there's some folks out there, even practitioners in the game, there's even real estate agents out there. They're like, yeah, whatever. They don't really know what goes into that piece. So again, it sounds self-serving. Get the pre-approval. I'm telling you, the pain that you'll experience without one, wildly more, right? Impactful than the pain of just digging up some documents and getting that loan officer exactly what they need so that they can get you a strong pre-approval and get you out there clear and confident. Short-term problems, short-term distress for long-term gain. All right, team, mistake number 2, your credit. I've heard all kinds of funny horror stories. I've experienced more than a few, but here's what you need to know. When you are in the process of buying a home, you are taking a snapshot of your current financial picture, snapshot in time. So your credit report gives us an idea where where you're at. Your pay stubs give us an idea where your income is. Your bank statements give us an idea of where your assets are. It's the holy trinity if you haven't heard of it yet. Credit, income, assets when it comes to a loan officer and qualifying for programs. Credit is your liabilities. Liabilities fall into your DTI, or debt to income ratio. So if I take a snapshot in time, January 1st, and then you turn around in February, buy a Lamborghini, and I know that's an exaggeration, but let's just say you buy something, you get something on credit. That changes your financial picture. It alters your DTI, or your debt to income ratio, because you've just changed one of the three in the Holy Trinity: credit, income, assets, credit, liabilities. You've changed that factor, and now it changes my ratios. You may not qualify anymore. I don't know that, okay? So we always say, don't make any major purchases and do these things. It's mistake number 2, and there's a reason why it's high on the list, is because a lot of people do it because they might think, oh, well, it's not a big deal. That's not the important part. Remember, the financial picture, your holy trinity for the loan officer: credit, income, assets. If you change it too drastically, you might fall out of qualification range. So let's just say, for instance, you're a well-qualified buyer, you have XYZ, you've got 4 jobs, yada, yada, but the purchase that you're making, I'm only using 1. And we've talked about it and we've done it. But now we've got to go back because you decided to purchase a $30,000 engagement ring on credit. Now I've got to go back and add back in some of those other jobs, and we've got to follow up with documentation. You're going to stretch the process. Now, is it always like this? No. It's not always like this. Not everybody's got 4 jobs. The point is, the snapshot in time that I took, or your mortgage professional took, to qualify you for the loan will be altered if you start to exercise your credit, get new credit, right? You can use your credit that you normally have, like you normally go grocery shopping and you put your gas on there and you use your paycheck to pay it off in full, no big deal, okay? But run some simulators and find out. You can't just go and charge a $5,000 trip, go on vacation, and now all of a sudden think that your monthly obligations, your minimum monthly payments, are not going to be altered. Will it be enough? Maybe not, but it's worth having the conversation so you get in front of the problem, okay? And the bigger problem is opening up new lines of credit. That's where you get into a very risky scenario. So using your current credit, you're gonna buy gas and groceries, not a big deal. You use your regular income to pay that off, not a big deal. Mistake number 2 is here for a reason. Do not explode your credit. Don't go opening brand new credit for a Ferrari, for remodeling this whole brand new house that you're gonna get. You're a first-time home buyer, you need a bunch of furniture. Don't do it before you buy the house, okay? It could knock you out of qualification range. And now, unfortunately, we might have to come up with a way to get you a gift to pay this off. We gotta bring in mom and dad. Oh my God, it's a big pain. It's wildly better. Just talk to your mortgage advisor, okay? If you're thinking about it, even if you assume, yeah, it's gonna be fine, it's not a big deal, just call them, just text them. Hey, I'm looking to do this, is that cool? Too easy. All you gotta do is talk. Do not explode your credit. It is one of the biggest hurdles first-time homebuyers run into because they don't realize it's such a big deal. And I tried to emphasize the points here. It's a snapshot in time. And if you open up new trade lines on your credit or accounts, it impacts the Trinity and impacts your ratios. Once you change that, you may not qualify anymore. So that's why it's mistake number 2. Mistake number 3, team, understanding closing costs. Closing costs are the ones that your average, normal, everyday person is like, who's got this much money to do this, right? How much money am I giving you and what's going on? What? I don't understand. So listen, your closing costs, understand them. Talk to your mortgage advisor, all right? Understand your closing costs. It breaks down into a lot of different little numbers, okay, that equal into the final, what we call cash to close, okay? You wanna know what cash to close is because that's the number that you are financially liable for in order to close the deal, okay? Your loan officer should have already gotten into your assets and figured out if this is even doable, and then in the consult should have broken this down and explained it to you. But one of the bigger mistakes that we start to realize is folks like me start to ramble, especially if we have a client that's either overwhelmed overwhelmed or not really paying attention or any multitude of factors as to why the information was not digested effectively. Now all of a sudden they feel blindsided because this number hits them like a week away from closing and getting this dream home. And now all of a sudden they're like, but wait, why am I giving you everything? So it's important to understand closing costs. Down payment is a requirement for a loan program. In my world, in the lending world, earnest money deposit is a number that you and your realtor put into the real estate transaction, okay? And then closing costs are costs that are associated with the process of closing the loan, okay? Closing costs will include the down payment required for the loan program, will include your earnest money deposit, so you don't lose that money. It just goes into the deal, okay? But then all of the other third party, your appraisal, your insurance, your title, your attorney, all of those things, your associated closing costs, all of these together will net out to a number that is called cash to close, all right? It's mistake number 3 for a reason. It's very convoluted. I mean, I got my license many years ago and it still took me a while to like break this down for folks in a very effective, clean way. So don't beat yourself up that you don't understand it effectively or appropriately. We're here to learn, right? We're here in good spirits and good mindset, and understanding closing costs, huge deal. How does it all break down? All right. And we can go into another video later and I'll link it below, is how these numbers break down, because a lot of times folks get really, really upset when they see what these numbers look like because they don't know where it's really going. And rightfully so, it's your money, so you should know what are these things. And most times, folks, loan advisors, unfortunately, will just be like, this is the cost of doing business. They won't really break it down for you. So link below, I'll get you another video and we will literally line by line break down some of these costs and what they mean and where they might be going and why they're associated with your real estate transaction. But mistake number 3 is there for a reason, causes a lot of friction. One of the top 5 mistakes first-time home buyers will make is misunderstanding what your closing costs are. Gang, mistake number 4, huge. I talk a lot in some of my videos about the emotional prep that you're going to need to be successful and to navigate this very, very effectively. So mistake number 4, emotional bidding. So we want to be in the right headspace when we do this, okay? Understand your budget. Did you make the plan? Okay, maybe we didn't even make the plan, all right? Maybe we skipped a bunch of steps, and we didn't skip because we knew we wanted to skip it. We didn't skip it intentionally. Maybe we just didn't know until we got here. Fine, too easy, whatever, not a big deal. But we're here now and we've established a budget. You and your loan advisor have established a range in which you are comfortable, 25 to 35%, maybe you're even higher. Maybe you're anticipating a big raise at work, whatever. Maybe you're, gonna marry Paris Hilton or something, who knows? But you understand your budget going in. So now you don't wanna just turn around and win a negotiation. You wanna win the house. Is the house a good deal? Don't stretch yourself out because your ego or your emotions have got the best of you and you're trying to just win now because you have that desire that you wanna win this deal. It might not be the best deal. Financially speaking, assets are a good thing to have. However, there is a cost at acquiring said asset over what they're valued at. Is it always a bad deal? Not always a bad deal, right? But you gotta know and have a plan as to why you're doing it. Most first-time home buyers don't, right? And it's not, hey, listen, judgment-free zone here, all right? I had no clue what the heck I was doing. I bought my first house and literally I was confused as to how people thought I was responsible enough to pay for something. But listen, besides the point, I digress. Don't go into an emotional bidding war, okay? There are smart reasons why you would pay more for something, right? But most first-time home buyers are just not there. They just don't have the financial planning. They don't have a team. They don't have the real market breakdown. They're not doing smart investing at this point. They're trying to buy their first home. All right. There's a reason why they're here, and there was a reason why they're called first-time home buyers. So it's suffice it to say, you can find advice online and you can find advice all kinds of places that will tell you, oh, this is cool. You can do this, especially on TikTok. Oh, it's a financial hack. Be careful. Understand, you're not emotionally bidding. You're trying to win the home, okay? And it has to be a good deal. Lean on your advisors, your mortgage advisors, your real estate professionals. Lean on the professionals that you have in your corner, all right? And stick to your budget. It might not be exactly what you want, but listen, the biggest hack there is if you establish a sound budget, stick within it, you'll have the excess funds to change it to make it what you really want it to be later. If you go house broke, now you can't. Now you need a side hustle, you need another thing, you need a sugar mama, stuff's crazy, right? So you've got to find alternate means. Listen, if you set the budget and you do it right, now something might not be perfect, but you've got the home. The home is the important part, all right? You've just acquired a major asset, one that will change your life if you let it, okay? Or you can control your asset and do the right thing. Now you can start to make minor upgrades. Put in the time and the effort to make it exactly what you want. Is it showroom ready all of a sudden right out the gate? Maybe not, but now you've got something sweet and you can start to make it what you need it to because you're inside your budget and you have the room to do it. You go broke, you're stuck with what you got. So mistake number 4, emotional bidding. Don't do it. Number 5, big mistake first-time home buyers do: skipping inspections. Okay, I got it. Some of you are instantly like, oh, you don't need it in all transactions. There's a reason, there's a way. My buddy Johnny said, bada bing, bada boom, you make a deal happen, good to go. I got it. But listen, this is your first time doing this house process. You want to look at what it is, you want to understand what the process is, and you want this information so that you can digest it, so that you can lean on your team and we can all work through it. There is a lot that is involved and goes into it, and it might be a little overwhelming. Get the inspection. The inspection's going to start to lift up the rug and start looking at all the details, finer details of things you as a first-time home buyer may not understand. Maybe you're like me and your dad told you to hold the flashlight and he walked you through all kinds of stuff. Even so, in that scenario, I had no idea the multitude of things that I was getting myself involved in when I first bought my first home. It was a lovely little condo, nice 2-bedroom spot, but I literally blew a water heater within the first couple months of me being there. And first call was my dad. The home inspection had it on the report that this was a problem, but I just didn't even read it. I didn't pay attention to it. It was a problem. So I guess you can couple that into mistake number 5 is don't get the home inspection. Even bigger problem, pay for the silly thing and then don't read it, all right? Know what you're getting yourself into. It's not because it's not a smart idea in some scenarios. I'm telling you as a first-time home buyer, it's very important. Get the silly report. Start to ask the questions. It starts to trigger things in your mind where you are now gonna emotionally prep yourself for some things that may or may not happen with your home, all right? Very, very important. Listen, team, when you're in the game and you want to avoid major pitfalls, you're gonna want to pay attention, especially to these 5 items. Being a first-time home buyer, you're unique to some of these scenarios, okay? And you're a little susceptible to all the information that's out there. It's not because you don't know enough or because you're extra special or something along those lines. It is literally a scenario based. Being the first time that you've done it, you may or may not be exposed to certain aspects of what a real estate transaction and real estate home ownership entails. So listen, these are the top 5 mistakes from me to you. And if you want to know more, mentally prep yourself, you want to get the right game plan, subscribe, all right? We're going to put out content as often as possible to make sure that you have all the ammunition you need so that you have a clear mind, you have a clear vision of what you're going to get yourself into, and we've mitigated as many hurdles as possible. So when you go in, everything is that much smoother. So I hope you guys found this informative. Subscribe, like, hit the alert, all of it. We love you. Till later.